Welcome to Revenge Chronicles. Hello to all our loyal viewers and welcome to any newcomers joining our journey today. You're about to hear a story that will challenge everything you think you know about family loyalty and maternal bonds. Today's tale involves a betrayal so deep, a manipulation so calculated, that when the truth finally surfaces, it shatters lives in ways no one could have predicted. So settle in, because this story of sisterly deception and ultimate justice will leave you questioning who you can truly trust. The phone call that changed everything came on a Tuesday morning in March. I was making coffee when my daughter Emma's voice, cold and distant, cut through the receiver like ice. "I've made my decision, Mom. I'm moving in with Aunt Sarah permanently." Emma was 16. My world. My everything. The child I'd fought for through the ugliest divorce in family court history. And now she was choosing my sister over me. "Emma, honey, can we talk about this? What's happening? I thought we were okay." "We are not okay, Mom. We haven't been okay for a long time. Sarah told me everything." "Everything? What everything? What did she tell you, sweetheart? How you never really wanted me. How you used to complain about having kids. How Dad left because you were impossible to live with. How you've been lying to me about child support and making him look bad when he's been trying so hard to be a good father." Each word felt like a physical blow. None of it was true. None of it. "Emma, that's not. I'm done, Mom. Sarah's picking me up tonight." The line went dead. I stood in my kitchen, still holding the phone, trying to process what had just happened. My sister Sarah had been Emma's favorite aunt since the divorce 3 years ago. She'd swooped in during those dark months, offering to babysit, taking Emma shopping, being the fun aunt while I struggled to hold our lives together. I'd been grateful. God, I'd been so grateful. The divorce had been brutal. My ex-husband Marcus had cheated, drained our accounts, and then painted me as the unstable one in court. I'd barely kept custody, working 3 jobs to pay legal fees and keep our apartment. Sarah had seemed like a gift from heaven, stepping in to help with Emma when I was drowning. But now I was seeing it differently. All those times Sarah had volunteered to take Emma overnight when I was too stressed. All those shopping trips where they'd come back with stories about girl time and inside jokes I wasn't part of. All those moments when Emma would mention something Aunt Sarah had said about Dad that didn't quite ring true. I'd been so focused on survival that I'd missed the slow, careful poisoning of my relationship with my own daughter. That night, I watched through the window as Sarah's Mercedes pulled up to our building. Emma emerged with 2 suitcases and climbed into the passenger seat without looking back. Sarah gave me a little wave from the driver's seat, her smile sympathetic but somehow triumphant. I called Marcus immediately. "She's living with Sarah now," I said when he answered. "I heard. Probably for the best, Jennifer. Emma needs stability." "Stability? I've given her stability. I've given her everything." "Look," Sarah explained the situation to me. "Emma's been unhappy for a while. She feels like you're always working, always stressed, always making her feel guilty about the divorce. Sarah explained the situation to you. She's been keeping me updated on Emma's well-being. She's concerned about both of you, actually. She thinks you might need some professional help." Professional help? The implication hung in the air like smoke. "Since when do you and Sarah talk regularly?" "Since someone had to advocate for Emma's needs. Sarah's been a godsend, honestly. She's helped me understand what Emma's been going through." The pieces were clicking into place. Sarah hadn't just been manipulating Emma. She'd been working on Marcus too, positioning herself as the reasonable intermediary, the concerned aunt who just wanted what was best for everyone. I spent the next week calling Emma daily. Sometimes she answered with one-word responses. Sometimes she didn't answer at all. When I asked to see her, Sarah would answer instead. "She's not ready, Jen. Give her space. She's been through a lot." "She's been through a lot?" "Sarah, what exactly have you been telling her?" "Only the truth. About how hard this has all been on her. About how maybe she needs a more stable environment while you work through your issues." "My issues?" "The drinking, Jen. The way you've been handling the stress. Emma's worried about you." "I don't drink. I'd had maybe 3 glasses of wine in the past year, all of them at family dinners where Sarah was present. That's when I realized Sarah had been documenting things. Creating a narrative. Building a case. I started my own documentation. I went through my phone records first. Emma's claim that Marcus had been trying to reach her but I'd been blocking him? My records showed no missed calls from his number in 8 months. The last time he'd called was to complain about child support. I pulled bank records next. The child support payments Emma thought were regular? Marcus had paid sporadically and several payments had bounced. I had records of every missed payment, every excuse, every time I'd covered expenses he was supposed to handle. Then I found the real evidence. While going through Emma's room to pack some clothes she'd requested, I discovered a showbox hidden under her bed. Inside were printed emails, text screenshots, and handwritten notes. Sarah had been communicating with Emma through a secret email account for over a year. The emails were devastating. Your mom asked me not to tell you this, but your dad has been sending money for your school clothes and she's been spending it on other things. I overheard your mom on the phone saying she wished she'd never had kids because it would have made the divorce easier. Your dad wanted to take you to Disney World for your birthday, but your mom told him no because she wants to hurt him. Email after email. Lie after lie. Each one carefully crafted to make Marcus look like the devoted father being kept away by the bitter ex-wife. But the worst part was the response emails. Emma, my sweet Emma, pouring her heart out about feeling unwanted, feeling like a burden, feeling caught between parents who used her as a weapon. Except only one parent was using her as a weapon. I photographed every email, every text, every note. Then I kept digging. Sarah's social media told another story. Photos of her and Emma together were captioned with things like "My girl needs some TLC" and "Sometimes kids need a safe space." The implication was always that Emma was escaping something at home. I found posts in a local Facebook group where Sarah had asked for recommendations for family therapists who specialize in parental alienation and support groups for children of difficult divorces. She was building a public narrative while privately building a case. But Sarah had made one crucial mistake. In her zeal to document everything, she'd kept records too. I found a folder on Emma's laptop labeled "For Dad" that contained screenshots of our text conversations, photos of our messy apartment during my busiest work periods, and even a recording of me crying on the phone with my lawyer about money stress. Sarah had coached Emma to spy on me. The recording that broke me was dated 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized. I was sobbing on the phone with my sister Lisa about how scared I was of losing Emma, how I felt like I was failing as a mother, how I wished I could give her the stability she deserved. Sarah had taken my lowest moment, my most vulnerable confession of maternal anxiety, and twisted it into evidence that I didn't want my daughter. I called my lawyer. "I need you to look at something," I said. "I think my sister has been coaching my daughter to build a case against me." 3 days later, I had a custody hearing scheduled. Sarah wasn't expecting it. Neither was Marcus. They'd assumed I would just accept the new arrangement, that I'd be too broken or too guilty to fight back. They were wrong. I arrived at the courthouse with a thick folder of evidence and a recording device. My lawyer had advised that in our state, I could legally record conversations I was part of. Sarah was there with Emma, both of them dressed conservatively, Sarah's hand protectively on Emma's shoulder. Marcus sat nearby in a suit I recognized from our marriage. "Your Honor," my lawyer began, "would like to present evidence that the minor child has been systematically alienated from my client through a campaign of manipulation and false information." We started with the emails. As my lawyer read them aloud, I watched Emma's face. Confusion first, then recognition, then horror as she realized what had been done to her. The defendant claims the child chose to live with her aunt due to instability in the mother's home, my lawyer continued. However, these communications show a deliberate pattern of feeding false information to the child about both her mother and father. The bank records came next. Every missed child support payment. Every bounce check. Every time I'd covered expenses Marcus was supposed to handle. The child was told her father was consistently providing support that the mother was misappropriating. In reality, support payments have been sporadic at best. Then came the phone records. The child was told her father had been trying to contact her but calls were being blocked. Phone records show no attempts at contact from the father's number for over 8 months. Sarah's face was pale now. Marcus was shifting uncomfortably in his seat. But the moment that changed everything was when my lawyer played the recording of my conversation with Lisa. The defendant used this recording, obtained without consent through the minor child, as evidence that the mother didn't want her daughter. In context, it clearly shows a mother struggling with economic hardship and expressing fear about not being able to provide adequately for her child. Emma was crying now. Quiet tears that she kept wiping away. The judge called a recess and asked to speak with Emma privately. When we returned, his decision was swift. I find clear evidence of parental alienation and manipulation of a minor child. Custody remains with the mother. The defendant is ordered to cease all contact with the minor child for a period of 6 months, after which supervised visitation may be reconsidered pending family therapy. But the real reckoning came afterward, in the courthouse hallway. Emma ran to me first, sobbing apologies. "Mum, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I thought. Sure, baby. It's okay. None of this was your fault." Marcus approached hesitantly. "Jennifer, I had no idea Sarah was." "You had no idea because you didn't want to know. You wanted to believe I was the problem because it made your abandonment of our family easier to live with." Sarah stood alone by the elevators, her composure finally cracking. "How could you?" I confronted her. "She's my daughter. My child. I thought." "You thought what? That you could just take her? That you could replace me? You were struggling. She was unhappy. So you decided to make sure she stayed unhappy? You fed her lies about her own mother to justify stealing her. I love her. You love controlling her. You love being the hero who saves her from the mother you convinced her was terrible." Security was approaching, drawn by our raised voices. "Stay away from my daughter," I said quietly. "Stay away from my family. If you contact her, if you try to manipulate her again, I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you did here." The drive home was quiet. Emma sat in the passenger seat, occasionally sniffling, staring out the window. "Mom," she finally said as we pulled into our parking lot. "Yeah, sweetheart? How did you know to look for all that evidence?" "Because I know you. And I know that the Emma I raised, the Emma I love, wouldn't just abandon her mother without a very good reason. Someone had to be feeding you reasons. I feel so stupid." "You're not stupid. You're 16 and someone you trusted lied to you. That's not your fault." We sat in the car for a moment longer. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now we go upstairs and order pizza and you tell me about everything I missed. And then we figure out how to trust each other again. Do you think Aunt Sarah will try to contact me? If she does, you tell me immediately. And Emma? Next time someone tries to tell you who I am or what I think or how I feel, you ask me directly. Can you do that?" She nodded, fresh tears starting. "I missed you so much, Mom. I missed you too, baby. So much. It's been 6 months now. Emma's back in therapy, but this time with someone I chose, someone who specializes in helping kids recover from manipulation. We are rebuilding our relationship day by day. Marcus has actually stepped up since the hearing. I think seeing the evidence of how his absence affected Emma shook him. He's not a great father, but he's trying to be a present one. Sarah sent a letter last month asking for forgiveness, asking to see Emma. The letter was full of justifications and excuses, painting herself as the misunderstood aunt who just wanted to help. I threw it away. Emma's stronger now. More questioning. Less likely to take anyone's word at face value. She asks me direct questions about things instead of wondering silently. We have movie nights every Friday, and she tells me about school drama and friend problems like she used to. Sometimes I catch her looking at her phone with a sad expression, and I know she's thinking about Sarah. Despite everything, she did love her aunt. Sarah exploited that love, weaponized it, but it was real. "It's okay to miss her," I told Emma one night. "You can miss someone and still know they hurt you." Do you think she really believed she was helping? I think she wanted something she couldn't have, and she convinced herself that taking it was the same as earning it. Sarah never got her supervised visitation. She moved across the country shortly after the 6-month period ended. I heard through family that she's dating a single father with a teenage daughter. I hope he's more careful than I was. Emma starts college next year. She wants to study psychology, partly because of what happened with Sarah. She says she wants to understand how people can convince themselves that manipulation is love. I'm proud of the woman she's becoming. Strong, questioning, thoughtful. She's learned to trust her own instincts while still being open to love. But sometimes, late at night, I think about those lost months. The bedtime stories I didn't get to read. The bad days at school I wasn't there to comfort her through. The small moments that Sarah stole and I can never get back. And I remember that some betrayals cut so deep they change you forever. But sometimes, if you're lucky, they change you for the better. If you're watching this and it reminds you of your own family situation, remember that documentation is everything and trust your instincts. And if you want to hear more stories about family justice and finding your voice, please consider subscribing to our channel. Thank you for staying with us through this emotional journey. Your support means everything, and I hope you'll join us again for the next Revenge Chronicles story.